Welcome to the Being Curious Show. I'm Brian Mariani, founder of No Shift Own.
And I'm Kelly Wagner, publisher of Edge Magazine. Our show is about curiously connecting teachers and seekers on a wide range of topics in a safe space. Few topics will be off limits, and we have some amazing guests to share with you.
Our intention is that our conversations will spark your own curiosity to create a life that lights you up and inspires you to be kind, thoughtful, open-minded to yourself and others.
So, Brian, what are you curious about today?
Hey, everybody, it's Kelly, and I just want to let you know today's show is brought to you by Inspire Tech, a career transformation coaching company for women in tech who are ready for a career reset. A career reset, you guys. There's so much going on energetically. Oh my goodness, so much, and so important now. That is amazing. Okay. And we're here with Laurie, and she is with Inspire Tech. And that is INSPIHERTECH.com. So excited to jump into the show. Laurie, I'm alone today. It's you and I. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being a part of it. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me, Kelly. I'm excited to chat and, get curious and do all the things.
And all of the above, right? Here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
So where are you calling in from?
I'm from Chicago. So I'm actually in a suburb of Chicago.
What suburb in Chicago?
Wheaton.
Wheaton is a beautiful area. My family is from the Chicagoland area, and I've been there ever since I was a little girl. So I love.
What part were you from?
Burr Ridge, Hinsdale area.
Sure. Yep. That was my first business, was in Hinsdale, right at 75th and 83, basically. The first business I started was right there. Hinsdale, Burr Ridge, right on the edge.
That was right on the border. Well,
yeah.
There's a serendipity just to start the show off.
Right away.
Well, welcome. You guys, Laurie is a career transformation coach, but I'm going to let her describe what that looks like, what that feels like. And she's also going to tell us what she is curious about. So, Laurie, what is a career transformation coach?
Well, I think there's lots of career coaches out there who are excellent at helping, with more traditional types of the career path. But I really...
You have a niched
into transformation, because I think there's a point, and of course I've reached it, and a lot of my coaching clients, that's why they come to me, is there's a point where you're sort of done with, the first chapter, and that first chapter could be 2 years or 32 years. It isn't about time, but there's a point where you're sort of like, this isn't who I am anymore. This doesn't connect with kind of who I'm becoming, and I'm ready to transform the work I do. And I always consider our careers our form of service. And so how we serve in the world, how we, and again, this isn't, you can make lots of money and be in service, right? It isn't about nonprofit or, that's not what I mean by that. Yeah. So it's just that at some point we recognize that we're out of alignment with our authentic selves, like a car is out of alignment. We keep trying to pull it back, and eventually we're way off course, or even a little bit off course. We recognize that, and it's time for a career reset or a transformation, so that you can realign with, your essential true nature, and then do that inward stuff first. And that's really, I think, one of the differentiators for me is I see myself as sort of at that intersection between inner wisdom, outer guidance, and common sense. I'm a very pragmatic person, but I also have a very spirit-centered approach to my coaching, and transformation to me is very much about joyously becoming more of who we are and doing more of the work we're meant to be doing in the world through our careers.
Well, I love that you have, it's the the path of a fulfilling career and an inspired life. Like I was a VP of marketing and I had my big girl job and I was making a beautiful salary and I just was not I was not fulfilled. And yes, the paychecks were awesome and the company I worked for had integrity, and it just was an industry that I was not aligned with, or not and I was being paid to market and I couldn't find the words. And for me, the girl that has a word for everything and is a bubble machine of ideas, to just struggle was so hard is probably the best way to
Mhm.
describe it, but it was a challenge and I wasn't showing my best self because I wasn't in alignment. And I just keep seeing with you, it's creating that alignment and that balance, and to be a publisher of a magazine and to be a part of this radio show and to be curious and to be inspired. And I think what also, and you're going to say this later on, I feel, is that it's not a lot of hard work. I mean, we have to work and we have to put in the effort and we have to put in the energy, but there has to be an equal energy exchange, or or something's going to be not in alignment. One of the tires is just going to be off.
Yeah.
It's like when you get the car, you need to at least buy two tires and to make sure, like, right? You can't just buy a new tire or the whole rest of the car is just going to be like that. I think your car analogy, for my husband who loves cars more than life itself, you 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 found alignment with that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's true. I mean, the sense that that something's off in. So you were noticing, and that's really what it is you're de-energized, you're not engaged. They talk about employee engagement all over the place, and I'm like, hey, if your employees aren't engaged, really it's a personal job of realigning with what they're meant to be doing, how they're meant to be doing it, with whom they're meant to be doing it, where they're meant to be doing it, all of that, figuring all of that out. And then you'll find that the hard work, even though it can be, you're working hard, but it's also sort of in that flow state because you're aligned. It is, it feels like a job well done, like, oh, that was so good. What a great day, versus collapse on the couch, pop open the wine, turn on the Netflix just to somehow feel some form of nourishment because you've been so undernourished all day long in your work.
Yeah, you totally hit it. Well, and also you're a woman in tech, and that's another layer as well. And working with women.
Yeah. So I began my career as a woman in tech, for sure. I was a software engineer and working for a small software development firm.
And you were the number one sales rep in your.
Then I sold software and was the number one sales rep. That is true. So I've developed software, I've sold software, and then I recruited software engineers and software application, information technology leaders and project leaders and chiefs and all of that. So I moved from software development into software sales, into recruiting. And that's where I really found my home for a time. I started my own business. I actually started one with a partnership, and then I left the partnership and went on my own and spent 25 years working with men and women in technology, helping them to navigate successfully a job search. And a lot of that practical stuff I talked about at the beginning, helping them negotiate for more powerful compensation packages and helping companies build balanced, diverse teams. So I did that, and I did that happily and joyfully for a long time until I wasn't so happy and joyful anymore, not because the work wasn't good work and not because I wasn't good at it. And I think that can be a trap sometimes, because you could be really good at something and then it just keeps you sort of stuck in a place that isn't really feeding and nourishing your soul. But your head is like, this is confusing to me because I'm good at this. People come to me. They're like, I'm the go-to person and I've got all the answers. And then why do I feel so drained and depleted? So for me, that's started to happen in my career. As a recruiter, I'm building up, a multi-million-dollar business with a staff of recruiters, salespeople. I'm the main rainmaker myself, doing all of that, and having 2 babies along the way, and all that goes along with that, and still started to notice that I wasn't as enthusiastic about something that I was still really good at and making money from, like you said, making good money, yet I wasn't enthusiastic. And so I started to explore transformation for myself, and that there's actually a quiz on my website where it's called, what stage of a career change are you in? And stage 1 is this sort of disruption, either by choice or circumstance, where you start to think, either you get laid off, and that's sort of, you find yourself, quietly saying, thank goodness they picked me, right? I'm so glad they picked me. I might not have raised my hand because I've got a good salary and it's safe here and I know what to expect, but I'm kind of glad because I'm scared, yet I'm also excited about the possibility of creating something different for myself. Or you really know that the work environment isn't right. It could be toxic, but it doesn't have to be. Again, it's just, you've outlived it. You've outgrown it. It's not that interesting anymore. And so by choice, you disrupt your career. That's stage 1. And then what generally happens, people move to stage 3, which is a lot of outward action, and completely skip over stage 2, which is the real transformative part of the process, where you do the inner work, where you reconnect it, that I talked about already, with your essential self, so that when you're doing the outward work, it makes sense in alignment to where you're going, not where necessarily you can bring some of where you've been with you if you still love that, but you're also redefining what this career is going to look like, so that you begin to take outward action. And then even in that stage 3, you may discover, as you take outward action, let's say you're doing some interviewing or, talking to some people that are in the role already that you've been thinking about. And then as you start to dig deeper, you're like, maybe not so much. And then you step back into step 2 or stage 2, where you're dreaming again and imagining and becoming your future self, and doing the career reset program, which I offer, which is really all about taking the step back before you take the step forward. And then just stage 4 is, doing your, I call it career love. It's where you really are energized and excited about going to work every day, and the impact that you're having, the difference you're making, the money you're getting, paid, the sufficient amount of money that's sufficient for you. And the, and all of the joy that just comes, that exudes out of you when you've landed there, that everyone experiences then, your friends, your colleagues, your kids and your family and all, because when you're not doing work you love, everyone knows it. You can feel that. And so I don't know if that answered the question.
No, you totally answered the question on every single level. Who is your ideal client? So if there's people out here listening right now, and they might be at that, I just keep seeing the word pivot.
Yeah.
And their career is, they're comfortable. It's familiar. It is steady. But they've lost the spark. They've lost the excitement, and they're living for the weekend because they're like, oh my goodness, right? What do you want to talk to that person? Because I have a feeling that's I
was just like, that is the ideal person, really,
and
and
about my little gifts and abilities, right? Like, so what do you want to say to that person?
Well, I just want to say that that it doesn't have to be hard, that this process can be easy, and fun, because I think it should be. I hate using shoulds, but it really needs to be. It's important that, and I think often what happens is there's confusion that's going on, and that can be very scary. And again, stop us because we think, oh my gosh, there's all this job search stuff. I need to update my resume. And then there's a LinkedIn profile. And oh my gosh, I haven't lifted my head up long enough to really stay in connection with people. And oh my gosh, building my network, darn it all. I'm not ready for that, And so that's all going to be happening. You're going to be having all those feelings at the same time. I would say when you reconnect on the inside and let especially for women in tech or tech adjacent careers, like you talk about marketing. I mean, really, how can we get away from technology? Marketing tech, work, implementing software, working for a software company as the chief of staff. I work with those types. It's really, I say women in tech, but it's very broad. And that definition
is very broad. And I love how you put also that tech adjacent, because I mean, everything is really tech adjacent.
Right. And so you can see yourself maybe more in that, but the feelings that you're having are the ones we've already talked about. And there's this confusion that is like, I don't even know where to start. And for me, that's perfect. Like if you're ready for different, or you think you're ready for different, you in the quiet nights of, before you fall asleep, you dream of different. That's when you're ready for a transformation. And that's when you start to go inside and reconnect with that childlike part of yourself again, with your dreams that have been put on the shelf, all of those things. And let's figure out how you can, connect that to the work that you're doing in the world so that you're feeling all those things. So I would say it doesn't have to be hard. It actually can be fun and easy. And that if you're feeling those things, take one step, just take one step, reach out to a coach, read a book, just do something, that helps, that's not where you are today, but sort of starts to feed your soul. Go to a museum. I'm doing a program right now called Using Creativity to Solve Your Career Dilemma. And it's really about, again, that balancing of the rational, because we've so much been culturalized to let the rational brain lead. Let's analyze that. Let's figure it out. Let's put the process in place. And it leaves just so much, to waste when we do that. And when we tap through creativity, into this sort of expanded consciousness that's out there, all those ideas, all those resources, all those doors that could be open when we do that through a creative process, like, just appreciating. I was just appreciating album art cover recently and looking at them and thinking to myself, my dilemma was I was resisting video for promoting my company. And I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to use creativity or some sort of creative medium to help me solve this just in a fun way, I thought I really appreciate album art cover, right? So I pulled out an album and it was Fleetwood Mac Rumors. And I'm like, oh, so how is this like my dilemma? And I'm like, oh yeah, I have a part of me that, sort of spurns social media because I think it's gossipy or it's like sort of fake news. And so of course I would be resistant to doing more video in a platform where I feel part of it is, not fully ethical or in integrity. And so then but when I thought about Fleetwood Mac Rumors, and I was like, oh, isn't that interesting that that's part of my resistance? So I think there's a way that you can, just do something creative and fun that then all of a sudden it starts to open up, move out of your rational mind that as a woman in tech, you're using all the time, and tap into some things that may have been stagnating,
Did you see the new Netflix special on the company? And I forget, it was a British company that did like, I think they did Rumors, but they did
no.
And there's a new Netflix, and it's all on the album art cover, but it was like Pink Floyd. It was these two guys got in at the right time, and they helped Paul McCartney with Wings, and like it's a great net. I thought you just saw this Netflix.
No, No, this is something I did back in May or June. I was trying to solve a dilemma by using creativity, and out of that I was appreciating the album art, and I thought, how can that be like my dilemma or like a solution to my dilemma? And then out of that came a program that I just put together called Using Creativity to Solve a Career Dilemma.
Yeah.
And everyone has a different, some people are knitting and some people are creating beautiful, foodscapes and, and everything. But I don't consider myself like fine motor skills, not me. But appreciating other people's fine motor skills. So I can't wait to watch that, because how do they come up? It's fascinating. It's, you look at that, even just rumors, and it's black and white. And I thought to myself, gosh, am I looking at this too much black and white when I'm thinking about video and social media? And so then that prompted me to start, and my resistance just started melting and melting. So if you look between January and July 1st on my social media posts, between July 1st and now, you'll see way more video, because my resistance has, melted away. And I think so, if you're just starting out in a job search, you're feeling scared, you're feeling stuck, don't do the practical resume. Well, you can if you want the resume and the LinkedIn profile, that's all great. I have I get those questions a lot, and, you don't spend 25 years recruiting to not be able to help with that. And I do help with that. I think that's important, but I also think that if you spend some time just playing and creating and admiring, other creative pursuits and digging into that part of yourself, and not consciously thinking about your career dilemma, this change, but allowing your subconscious and expanded self work on it while you're having fun, you'll be amazed.
I love your approach. And these are the things that make you different. So what's your invitation to our audience?
My invitation is to go to my website, inspiretech.com. I think it's on the screen, at least I see it. And we have the Career Reset program starts January 16th. And so you can sign up by January 14th, but I'm offering free one-on-one coaching if you sign up by December 19th. I'm not sure when this will come out. If you sign up, you get 3 free coaching.
It's coming out live. So
we're live right now. So if you sign up by the 19th of this month, December 2023, you get 3 one-on-one coaching sessions with me. If you sign up by December 31st, you get 2. And if you sign up by January 9th midnight, you get 1. And the reason that I have January 9th midnight is because I'm also doing a free webinar. So if you want to get to know me a little more, I'm doing a free webinar called The Decision-Making Method. And I think, again, I'm always thinking about the rational mind and how we make decisions using our rational mind. It's like pros and cons lists. And I'm like, oh, there's a whole other way to make decisions. And it's a 3-part process that starts with reconnecting to your values. Because if you're when you think about making a decision, if it's counter to your values, then you're just, get ready for a mess, right? But we often don't, really sit down and be like, what are my core values? So I have an exercise we'll go through on that. And then in the middle, the part 2 is where we look at some of the research that might need to go into making a decision, people you might need to ask. Pros and cons are not necessarily out. It's just not the only thing. And then there's another little exercise I do that I won't spill the tea on right now, but there's another little exercise. And then part 3 is what I call the magic wand of decision making. It's an extra added. I also won't spill the tea on that one either. You need to come and join. It's free. So it's inspiretech.com/decision, and you can join that. But again, Career Reset is the group program for women in tech and tech adjacent careers. And we just opened the doors, like a week and a half ago. So we're really looking to get a community of women. They're so supportive too. This 3rd time doing this, and the women that's really the secret sauce, I think, to having a community, is that it's not just my brain and your brain, but it's all these brains. We go up to 20 people, but usually we're sitting around 6 to 8, but we'll go up to 20, and love to have people join and do all that.
Well, and this I've been pushing it away, but I'm going to bring it back. Sometimes working with someone like you could help people make the decision to reinvigorate and find their joy in their current career.
100%.
Right? Because like people think that a part of the transformation means you have to leave. I just get with you, and this is how I really want to leave people with, is to be able to lay everything out and unpack it and rediscover, maybe I just need my voice heard more. Maybe I need more one-on-ones with my boss. Maybe I need to wake up a little earlier and do X, Y, and Z. And I just really see that you have the gifts and abilities to help someone. Like if you want to jump in and you want to jump out and pull the ripcord and jump off the cliff, you're like, I got you.
Right.
You might have an amazing opportunity. You might have a great career that's just stagnant, or you're just on autopilot, or you've let other things come in that you can help give people clarity and rediscover the goodness.
For sure, 100%, Kelly, because a career reset does not necessarily mean that you're exiting your current career. It's reconnecting with your authentic self so that you can bring that into whatever work that you're doing, whether it's with your current employer. And that's what I talk about. If a company wants more engaged employees, even it isn't about bringing in new blood either. It's about like, hey, let's see where the disconnect is within ourselves, within our team, within the employees. And sometimes it can be, I worked with one woman who stayed with her company, but she moved out of software engineering actually into product management, because she saw that, the company was fine, the culture was fine, the pay, the hours, all of that was fine. But in her head, she thought she had to leave because she wasn't loving her job anymore. And then as we started to explore, like, what are your gifts? What are your abilities? What are your, just the aptitudes and interests and all, what are those things? And when you start to see, well, I really I like to be more creative. I like to have more input into the whole product, not just implementing the coding part of the product, and I'm like, oh, well, that sounds like a product manager to me, and so then you start to look at those job descriptions and see how it feels. And then, she stayed with her company and she kept all her benefits and kept all her longevity. And, so that for sure. Thank you for bringing that up, because it isn't about necessarily, and I think I talked a lot about switching jobs or switching companies, but it doesn't have to be like that at all. And it could actually be like, a couple of my clients are, they're like 4 years, from retirement. And they're like, I am not leaving, but is there anything I can do? There was one woman, and we had such a blast because she found something that wasn't in her job, but it was something outside of her job, a volunteer type of activity that completely reinvigorated her work. And and her boss, she said, I was on a call and they're like, is your hair different? She's like, no, but she knew that was different was that she started to explore some other parts of herself that, again, had been laying, gathering dust, and she dusted them off. And as she started to do more of that, she was bringing even that energy into her work, and it made her work that much more fun.
Well, also, when you get to that point, you have a lot of people don't want to ask. And you might value, some employers might feel that it's just financially driven, but what about the ability to work from home? And I'm just using the remote thing, 1 day a week that could provide the ability to pick up your kids from daycare or go to an afternoon volleyball game and you get that value, or to be able to have flex time, or to be, there's all these different, what is it called? Summer hours year round. Like there's all these different, and you just have to find out what your why is and what motivates you. And some people, just because it's not in the job description or people haven't talked about it, you always can ask. And
that's part of it. We do something called the ideal role description in Career Reset. That's one of the weeks we do. It's an 8-week program with 10 sessions. So we have like Q&A, like bring your job search questions. I don't care. Bring, any of that, your negotiation questions. So we do those. We have 1, 2, 3 of those separate sessions where we can ask anything. And it's not just me, but it's the whole community. But we spend time in this ideal role description, first of all, to get clear, like what would be in the ideal if I were to be able to leave at 3 to go to my kids' soccer games and then jump back on for an hour, the hour or 2 that I missed. That would feel really good to me. And then, so we uncover some of that. And then, then when you start to think about, I call it build your ask muscle.
Yeah.
It's really important to build that ask muscle and just ask and negotiate and look at how something similar is already being done and sort of tag onto that. It might not be exact, but there are ways in which people are getting some flexibility, and you can be like, sort of like Joe or Jane, or, have this happening. I want to have this happen, And so, I think those are great points. First of all, really being clear about what would ideally, if you could just, big dream it, what would that look like? And then let's figure out how to frame the questions so that you feel comfortable and confident asking for it. Yeah.
Well, I think so many people get worried about hearing the word no. It's just like, just ask for it.
Yeah.
Right?
One of the things I tell people who are on a job search who have that, I'm like, instead of the goal being a yes, let's see how many no's you can get this week. And then text me how many no's you can get. And then it becomes a game. And again, so I'm always infusing. I have like my core mission statement is, 3 parts. It's have fun. So I always am looking at ways to infuse fun. And if it's not fun, I'm probably like, I'm not sure I'm going to be spending my time and effort doing that. The second part is to trust life unconditionally, whatever, God, life, love, just to trust it unconditionally, that I'm always held, even when I'm scared, that it's all working for my benefit. And then finally, to spread love in all its forms, whether that's, with my patience and my generosity and my belief in my clients when they don't fully believe themselves quite yet is a form of love. Just there's so many ways that we can spread love. And so that's my mission.
I talked to my aunt on the way here, and we talked about love, and she said, love is going to be in your shows today. And we just wrapped it up with love. I'm just telling you, like, you can't.
I got goosebumps. And
I
of
know.
course, trusting life unconditionally. Why would that surprise me? But it's always still surprising when synchronicities like that happen. I'm like, oh, I love that reminder of how everything is working in my favor and in our favor and all of our favor. And often what's getting in the way is just what we're thinking about it.
Oh gosh.
And that's another part of Career Reset, is that we work on our thoughts that are getting in the way, because that kind of keeps love from coming in and from going out. And what a shame that is. So,
oh gosh, yes. How do people find you? How do they connect with you?
Yeah, so LinkedIn for sure, Laurie Swanson Career Coach on LinkedIn, and then at my website, inspiretech.com. You can email me at Laurie@inspiretech.com, and Laurie is Laurie. So that's it. Those are the ways. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for showcasing this. I loved it. It was fun. And for you being you.
Thank you.
And for quitting that darn marketing job.
Yeah, there's a good story with that one.
Oh, I'll have to hear it.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, thanks you again. You guys connect with Laurie. What a great guide to be able to help you here, there, and everywhere. And whether it is to jump or it's to stay nourished and rediscover new, beautiful opportunities in your current path. Thank you so much, Laurie. Have an amazing day.
You too. Thank you.
Today's sponsor is Inspire Tech, a career transformation coaching company for women in tech who are ready for a career reset. Visit inspiretech.com for more. That's INSPIHER tech.com.